Welcome to the Fortress Fitness Podcast, where we talk all things health and wellness. Your hosts today, Clay and Aaron Snellgrove, Bruce Thomas, and Todd Sullivan. Brought to you today by Starbucks and the Frostfit Challenge.
When they talked about it.
All right, back again. So today we all have a selection from Starbucks coffee. One of our favorite places to get coffee, especially when we're traveling. I've got the caramel latte. What do you have?
With an extra shot.
With an extra shot.
I need more caffeine. I have plain coffee.
Plain coffee.
With a
Bruce.
little bit of cream.
4 shots.
4 shots.
Todd.
Cold brew, sweet cream.
Yeah. Cold brew, sweet cream. Well, it got me thinking, we go to Starbucks, especially when traveling. Sometimes you're just out and about getting ready to go to work, Let's say, you're really trying to hit your meal plan. You got a goal. You're going to do it great all week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you end up at Starbucks. I didn't get breakfast, didn't have time. So you're at Starbucks. What's your go-to? What do you think's the best thing they offer? What could you eat to sort of stay on program if you were really looking to have a clean week eating wise?
They have I really like the perfect bars.
Okay.
First off, the ones that we buy them from the store, but
Yeah.
I'll grab one from there. Or they have it's like a turkey bacon and egg white on an English muffin, but I don't get the cheese.
Okay. So
if I was trying to be really good.
Yeah. So Bruce, talk to me. You're driving to dealership. I forgot to eat. Went straight from working out. Got to be at work, so all you have is fast food options down Church Street here.
Yeah.
Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Starbucks lines out the no way getting in. So you got fast food for breakfast. What can we hit if we roll through? I don't even know if you've been to McDonald's in the last 10 years, but what are you going to hit?
Chipotle.
Chipotle?
That's not on Church Street?
Yeah, it's right close to my work.
Okay, but it's not Church Street.
It's
for breakfast?
fast food.
Yeah.
I thought you just mean in general.
In general, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Chipotle would be your go-to if you're caught out and about, no planning.
For sure.
Yeah. Meat, rice, pico, guacamole, no cheese.
Todd, what about you? You're caught out and about, medical center
I
park.
stole yours, didn't I, Todd? Yeah.
If I end up being Taco Bell, Taco Bell, believe it or not, seems to be the healthiest of what we'd really consider the traditional fast foods, the healthiest options. You can they make an egg breakfast.
Okay.
And I think that would be egg, flour tortilla, maybe a little cheese, a little lean beef. They ground beef in there. Throw some veggies in because they'll have some of those sauteed up and on your way.
What about you?
Well, hard to say, but I would probably. You told me long ago that the English muffin at McDonald's with the egg.
Oh, what is that thing called?
Egg
McMuffin. Egg McMuffin.
The McGriddle.
That is not healthy. That thing's like a pancake.
That is the last food I ate at McDonald's.
But I'll tell you, I try to avoid fast food because there's not a lot of good options, and the smells and stuff sort of trigger memories of when I was younger and needed to eat a lot of food for less money. And I would eat fast food burgers all the time.
Yeah, 29
and I think those memories, I've tried to change the way I think about that and try to think about, my favorite back in the day was the Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 99 cents. And that was just all pleasure for me for probably a decade. And we sort of messed around, plant-based seemed to be real effective for people. And years ago, I was worried about my cholesterol. Didn't realize that what the cholesterol you consume really has nothing to do with your cholesterol reading, very little. So being confused and stuff, we went plant-based and we're like, let's try to avoid meat, and for several years we looked for vegetarian options places.
Yeah.
Now the good that came out of that was we started sort of looking around, seeing how little healthy stuff's out there at restaurants. Yeah. But we learned to eat a diverse, we could go get Thai food or Indian food, even Mexican, with beans and stuff. So tried other foods, learned to eat vegetables more. Now I'm back eating the meat because my body feels good with meat and vegetables. But when you're looking at healthy options, plant-based options, there's just not a lot out there. So, but if you can find one somewhere, like you said, Chipotle,
every time.
Yeah.
Like you can always get.
And just change your mindset into that. Like that going to Chipotle is a big deal. Instead of just saying, it's just one meal, I'll get the Sonic combo burger meal.
And it's funny to say that because I honestly, I was thinking, when is the last time I was in a fast food place? And I think it was 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was on my on I-40, and it was a McGriddle. It was 2016. I had a McGriddle because that was my option, and I savored that thing. I felt awful. I felt awful later. Yeah. But that 5 minutes, it was pure joy.
Yeah.
And then 50 minutes of pure misery.
I had McDonald's recently.
How old is your oldest granddaughter?
3.
Okay, so I would say Chick-fil-A's in your future.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Anything with a playground, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another place where I find it really hard, I go back to old habits, is just get-togethers. It's football season right now, and I associate spending time with friends with pizza, wings, beer, and I mean, there's football games Monday night, Thursday night. If you do high school, Friday, Saturday, NFL Sunday. So it's like every day of the week you can get together with friends and watch football games.
And ESPN classics.
Sure, yeah, you can replay it. And it's a good time to sit out on the patio with people and watch football. And if you do have some time off, it's a really relaxing time. If you before you go, you can obviously, I'm not going to partake in anything. Maybe eat before you go. But what are some other strategies you use when you go over there, not to be deprive yourself of fun, but not wreck your.
I mean, the eating beforehand thing is huge. So if you can eat something beforehand that you need to be eating, and then pick something. Say I'm going to have one dessert and I'm going to have one, appetizer kind of thing. But don't feel like you're missing out on everything. If you want to pick 2 things and you're going to a party, pick 2 or pick 1, and then really hammer the celery and the carrots and the hummus or whatever it is. Yeah, the fruit, and fill up on that. And then, I'm not going to feel bad if I eat a cookie.
Yeah. And hopefully somebody's brought a veggie tray, right?
I bring the veggie tray.
Bring the veggie
I bring the
tray.
veggie. I make sure that it's there.
Bruce, what about you?
Well, it's funny to say, I was watching the football game last night, but we took chicken thighs. Mm-hmm. We cooked it in the oven, but we put the buffalo sauce on it
it's good.
from the
Primal Kitchen.
Good
stuff, man.
That was the healthy, no sugar, right? And then we had hummus, and then we had fresh made salsa. Now, naturally, we had a little bit of chips, but we didn't overindulge. But there's
made it feel like football, Sunday night football.
Feels like
there's ways around it, and you just don't feel like you're eating a bunch of junk and just
One thing I've actually gone back to is diet and sugar-free sodas. Mm-hmm. There was, and this is just what I've seen, and it could be wrong, but for a while I was like, stay away from all that fake stuff, and then lately it's just like, man, sugar's bad news, and I think there's some studies that came out.
How many diet sodas are you really drinking?
Right.
1?
But if I'm at a party, instead of going pure Coke, or instead of grabbing a beer, maybe I didn't want to drink, a Diet Coke gives me something to put on ice and chew and have that carbonation, and it sort of fills that need of wanting to
fizzy
to toast and whatever. So just staying away from that sugar. I think if my calories are in place and my macronutrients are in place, Diet Coke, I like that as an option, but I'm not, too concerned anymore of the aspartame or whatever.
Well, you're not drinking 7 of them a day.
Right.
So
that's true too. So, but so hopefully, our members and friends and family, we're not wrecking ourselves come holiday season here.
But I think I think you guys would agree, there's always a better choice. Yes. If you have to go to McDonald's, there's a better choice. And you can't get caught up in, is this the best possible thing? You just do what's best possible in that moment and then move on. You haven't wrecked anything.
Yeah, I think the pre-gaming is big.
Yeah.
And there's so many good options, like taking a 6-pack of Athletic Brewing.
Oh yeah, you love that stuff.
I love that stuff. It's like 64 calories. It's non-alcoholic. It tastes like real beer. It looks like real beer. So the social aspect is the exact same. Your recovery is not wrecked. You don't feel poorly, right? I mean, all the deleterious side effects of drinking beer at an event are gone.
Yeah.
And I think also, the more drinks you have, the worse your decisions are.
Oh yeah.
Now I'll say, even if you're drinking the fake beer, that bowl of mixed nuts looks really good, right? So serving, and I think that's the other thing that a lot of people don't think about is we're using these little small plates. So you think, oh, it's 4 of these is what I need to eat. But if you still picture in your head what a real serving is, take a real serving.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Yeah.
Not 6 of them because the plate's small.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Last night I was thinking about stuff that I would want to hear your guys' input in. And I'd been talking to Aaron about yesterday's workout, had a lot of barbell movements. And, as we talked about, a lot of times when we ride them, you ride it for the best, and then you scale for the rest. And when I say best, it's just people that are further along, maybe stronger, younger.
Quality of movement.
Yeah, so that have mastered things, whereas for me, I'm a lighter athlete, so I usually don't do the programmed weights, especially with barbell movements. But Big Nick was there, and I said, I thought I'd partner with Big Nick, and in my head, I was like, this might be a day to test myself. So I said, I'll go as heavy as Nick.
He moves the barbell so
He's
well.
really good at barbell.
So I said, I'll go with what Nick wants to go with.
Uh-huh.
And it was cleans, and then we do a bunch of other work. Then it was shoulder to overhead, a bunch of other work, and then snatches. And the weights came down a little bit with each of those movements, but it was pretty heavy for me. And so I told Aaron that by the time I got the snatches, like what I thought I was going to be able to do, my core was broke.
I broke my back.
Well, so
That's
it's spinal. The shoulders were feeling a little off. The lower back, I could tell once my core goes. I didn't want to aggravate things. They were just feeling. It just wasn't there. Luckily, Penny and Katie were far ahead of us and had abandoned their barbell, and so
well played. Yeah.
So jumped on their barbell instead of with what Nick was going to go with. Jumped on their barbell, finished. And I told Aaron, I said, I'd like to talk about, how when you get into a workout, sometimes it's 7 hard rounds, and there's been times before where you have a break in between those rounds where I'm at the point, I'm just like, I got to take the 5th round off, and then I'll pick back up 6, 7.
Yeah.
Or this last workout, like I was talking about, I just dropped the weight. And there's been times where I'm just like, you know what, that's all for me today. And so then when I texted you guys, Bruce is like going hard and not, giving up,
That's not where I was going with this.
So anyway, I want to talk about, because we do see athletes come through the gym, and we'll coach people, and we see people moving well, and I think they should be getting more, or even with our own training, it's like check my heart rate data, and it's like, didn't really give it all I got today, But then I'm looking as 48, and
You can be 49 here.
Going to be 49, and
only a lad.
Sometimes you have big plans for the workout, and then it's just like you're doing whatever box jumps or double unders. Like the ankle or the foot just didn't feel right, and it's like, for me, I found that there's no shame in either saying, you know what, I'm abandoning the jump rope today because the feet aren't feeling perfect. I'll go jump on the bike for the jump rope sets, or like I did with the weight, it's like the barbell. It just doesn't feel right today. I'm going to drop to a real low weight or whatever. So I guess, you fired back. Obviously you'd seen somebody or that had not been getting the most out of what they were capable of recently. And that's on your mind. How do we balance that?
We had an intense conversation, meaning like, man, it's just really deep for me. Like even a premier athlete, thinks they're pushing their boundaries sometimes, but they're not. But even if we put it in the scale of 1 to 10, if you're an 8, 9, or 10, like you're seasoned, right? Or if you're 1, 2, 3, you're just starting. It's super important, like what you just said. I think sometimes even the premier athletes are not giving all they have, right? And I think a 1, 2, 3 athlete maybe might look at the board, or like you did, and are putting higher weights or trying to do things they can't do. In return, if they pull it back and they're constantly moving through the workout with lighter stuff and scaling movements, you're going to get just as an intense workout as that athlete that's maybe 8, 9, or 10, right? So it's so hard for us to do that, but that's super important for you to be able to get to that next level. And our conversation sometimes is like, forget everything I just said and let's talk about a premier athlete that has aspirations of getting somewhere or doing something. I can program for you, but are you really maximizing your effort? We get very complacent at times. So I just think that's where the coach comes in. I can look at workouts, I can look at numbers, I can look at weights, I can look at how you moved and know where things fell apart and know right here that you're not giving all that you need to. So those are just conversations. So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to try to
go
deep here.
And I think the flip side of that is you have that newer person that's driven a little bit more by ego, and they jump on that bike and they're at 95 RPM and they never recover.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they hit their first 5 cleans at 155 and then it's a train wreck, but they don't want to drop because somebody else in the gym, and they get butt hurt when you take weight off. And but discretion being the better part of valor, live to fight another day for some of those folks, right?
Yeah.
And so I think you have both, and then I think of it as a brand new person coming in should get the same quality of workout, the same stimulus as Bruce does from a workout.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And and they're going to look different, right?
Yeah.
But it's for some people, it's getting them to understand that they're going to look different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. So that's kind of the other
coin.
Other side of the coin is some people are not pushing as hard. And that's okay some days, right? Like
it's gonna happen.
We are not our best every day. We are not a PR every day. Yeah. And but some people also need to understand temperament or tempering their level of effort. My first round is almost always my warm-up round. It's almost always my slowest because I want to get a really good feel for it and figure out where I'm at, and then now I know how much to ratchet it up.
Yeah.
I think that when people are warming up also, if you're not taking your warm-up seriously, you don't get a good judge of how you're going to approach a workout. And so when we have those warm-ups and it says things like progressively build with a barbell, and then we're going to give you time to do that. I mean, I'm just as guilty as everybody else is with this, of not utilizing that time well. And so you kind of mess around a little bit and you're like, okay, what's the board say? Throw it on, start the workout. You have no idea how that weight's going to feel today. And so doing things like warming up a little heavier than what you intend to use and then reducing it for the workout. I mean, we try to do that with the programming, but as an athlete, if all of our athletes are taking that seriously, it's going to be a whole lot easier to see what's going to happen. Yeah. And they can get a much better workout in.
I mean, I think the last time I did snatches in the gym, I did not do RX. I hadn't been snatching much, right?
You didn't do it.
Never did RX on
I was doing 85 and asked you to come over and look at a few sets, right? To make sure that
we checked it.
And progressively move better and got a really good workout with 72 snatches at 85 pounds.
Yeah. Okay. And you moved well. And you got the right stimulus. And I think a lot of times what people really want when they come in the gym and they're working out is they want to leave here and feel like they did give that maximum effort. And if we're not using appropriate weights and we're not scaling right, they're not getting that. They're not getting hot. They're not getting sweaty. They don't feel tired. Their muscles aren't sore at all. And then, or they're too sore and they're having to stand or injured. And then it affects them later on.
Sore is okay. And people have to understand that. Injured isn't.
Yeah. I mean, you want to walk out of here and feel like I used my hour.
Yeah.
And I got a great workout in.
Yeah. And I think, you know, when I've talked about my birthday WOD being the assault bike.
You're getting closer to birthday WOD time.
More on that later. But the assault bike, the burpees and box get over, not jump.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one arm snatch with a moderate dumbbell. So the reason I chose those 3 exercises is I never feel like when I get tired doing those exercises, I am going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and listening to you yesterday, and it was a fun workout. I had rowing, assault bike, wall ball, which is another one that I think on the spectrum of dangerous when you get tired and lose your technique to maybe not as dangerous when you lose your technique. I think wall ball maybe falls on the less dangerous.
Unless it hits you in the head.
Well, yeah, you can probably do that. But the barbell movement's probably on the higher side, especially like with the snatch or anything overhead.
Yeah.
So with what you were saying, looking at that workout yesterday, I could have gone, even, 20, 30 pounds less on that barbell on every movement. And then just killed the row, killed the wall ball, killed the bike.
And got an amazing
and I would have been on the floor still.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have affected my effort output for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's always good with those barbell movements, even though it feels good to put a lot of weight on the bar,
technique
like
is more
you said,
important.
start slow, warm it up. And then if you have a question, err on the side of lighter.
Yeah.
Then heavier, and then just try to move faster, right?
Yeah.
Of course. So, my birthday WOD's coming up. Somebody was, of course, I'm telling everybody because I love when everybody shows up because I love the board. I love to see where everybody's been the last few years, and I think we have maybe a dozen.
We have all of
a dozen or more members that have done it 2 or 3 years in a row since we've been doing it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's sort of fun to see where everybody's at. It's fun to see where I'm at, and because it was relatively new. I've improved each year, but I was in really good shape last year. Mm-hmm. So just thinking about the assault bike, how am I going to get a better time? I'm already getting a pit in my stomach.
Yeah, so painful.
I'm betting he has a diagram with RPM thresholds.
Yeah. I pulled up our round scores, and I was like, all right, how am I going to map this out? Because it's going to take everything I got. And it's something that you were talking about the other day about being uncomfortable, right? And just thinking about it's making me be like, why do I even start this? Because the discomfort's gonna be so great. I can feel my quads blowing up, and so.
But I would tell you that I want everybody to feel a little bit uncomfortable every time they walk through the door, right? Just a little bit. Am I going to be able to give a really good level of effort today? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be able to move really well? I think there should always be that little bit of uncertainty and discomfort as we approach a training session. Mm-hmm. I don't want you coming in, anxious and stressed, but there should be that slight bit of, can I do really well today?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was an athlete that said something, I can't remember who it was now, just recently on podcast. They were talking about getting butterflies, and they said their coach told them it's time to get your butterflies in formation. So it's not like don't get rid of the butterflies, but use it. Use it. That little anxiety, that little nervous, put those butterflies in formation and let's go. And gosh, I wish I could remember it and give credit to that athlete and coach. But so discomfort, right? Yeah. So you started No Shirt November for you personally is it's getting colder out. Sometimes we get in the big section, heat's not been pumping or anything like that. It's super cold. It's I'm going to take my shirt off. Yeah. And the point of that's discomfort, right?
A lot. There's a lot of things. And it's through February.
Oh, you're going to go through February?
Yeah, through the end of February.
Not No Shirt November.
No. And see, so I put this out, and I called myself out as accountability. And Christy said something to me yesterday. It was my day off. And I'm like, everything under the sun is like, why would you don't have to do this? And I got my shoes on, got my shorts, walked outside, no shirt, and I just did active recovery on the bike. And she said to me, she said, well, if you didn't have to post it, would you have done it? And I'm like, probably not. You know what I mean? So real.
I mean, that's real.
So now I put this in movement, and it's about when you set a goal, how you see it through. We always set goals. We always want to do things, and we always start and we never finish. So in my mind, I've already finished it because I'm not going to miss a day. And there's going to be days where it's bone chilling cold, and I'm trying to get people. And I understand me and Aaron kind of talked about some people are scared. They don't want to take their shirt off.
Or more modest.
Yeah, or more modest. Yeah. Or I don't want people to see. It's not about that. It's about doing something, getting uncomfortable, being accountable, setting a goal together, spreading the word, seeing who we can do. Because after you do these things, like you said, when you come in, you're a little nervous, you got butterflies. Well, after you do it, how do you feel?
Oh, yeah.
I accomplished something.
Yeah.
And so it's just putting one step in front of the other. And as you start to accomplish something, you start getting confidence and you start learning how to do these things. And I'm just trying to do that to help bring people on board to see that. You got to get uncomfortable, man. You're comfortable, you're complacent, you're not going to accomplish anything.
I did something last night I haven't done in a really long time, thinking about that, because after talking about that and just being willing to be uncomfortable, because it helps all the other parts of your life. I turned the cold water on in the shower yesterday for the first time in I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. How long did you spend chopping ice yesterday? A half hour?
Yeah, because
he hadn't been getting in his cold water.
Hadn't been getting in the cold bath, and so it was frozen solid.
No, it was frozen solid, man.
Yeah.
Hammer time.
But and you also said something about.
I might have.
If you tie something, the no shirt to working out, guess what?
Yeah.
When you make sure you're doing your no shirt, you're working out.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Oh yeah, you got to move, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get into that routine.
Yeah.
And Aaron, speak to routine. You said something to me about.
I did.
Now you were talking to me about adults being toddlers. I'm sure you weren't talking about.
I'm right
me.
here.
Yeah.
I'm right here. But
no, yeah, adults are just big toddlers. We do so much better on a routine, and I think we behave worse than children do. When you have kids and you get them off schedule, what do? They misbehave, right? They cry out. They do not like it. We are worse. If we are creatures of routine, and if we can put that routine in place and follow it through, we're better in every other aspect of our life. And fitness cannot be something you do when you think you have time. It has to be a part of your daily routine. And doing something like this, where I'm going to take my shirt off and I'm going to go work out, and it's not a question, starts helping you to fulfill that routine. It's not an excuse. It's just you're going to do it, period.
Yeah.
And you behave better.
And you said, what is it? 5 times a week. You're gonna either, whether it's in the gym or workout, 3 on, 1 off, right? That's what you were saying?
For most people, I think that's probably the best schedule. You work out for 3 days, you take a day off, you work out for 2 days, or 2 and 3, whatever it is. Yeah. But those 2 days off shouldn't be a day of complete inactivity. Yeah. Like what you were just saying. Active recovery. Whether you're hiking, you're getting on the bike, whatever you're doing, it still needs to be movement based.
Yeah, some stretching, some mobility.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So I just came back from being out of town, Travis Manion Foundation, and I was talking to a young lady who's starting. She's working out, and I said, I want you to change your vernacular. I want you to call it training.
Yeah.
She doesn't see herself as an athlete, so we started shifting mindset for all these same kind of things. So. What would it take for you to be an athlete? So we set a goal. We set a 5K. We set when she'll do it by, what the time is.
Yes.
And when she accomplishes that, she'll now be able to consider herself an athlete.
Okay.
Right? And so mindset goes into routine, right?
Yes.
If I'm an athlete, then I can't be a slouch at home and take 4 days off because it's inconvenient.
Yeah, there isn't that also. It's like playing athletics.
So you have to think about
like it's practice.
Why you're doing this. And it may be because you just don't want to suck at life.
Yep.
Right? And that's a good goal. Suck less, train harder. But you've got to realize there's a reason we do all the things that we do. And like for me, I have grandkids. I want to be able to bounce up and down off the floor and chase them around and play hide and seek, right? That's a good reason to stay active.
Absolutely.
And what gets me there? Staying active in my fitness training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think thinking of it, and we may have mentioned this before, but training and exercise and fitness and strength and stuff, it's almost like investing. The four of us are lucky that in our youth, we invested a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So, we put some of that money in early, and even if we fall off for a decade or even 15 years, we can come back and some of that investment's still there and we can hop right back and we're in a good standing, right? But, if you've never invested and now you're 35, getting on 40, we can all relate financially. It's just like, gosh darn it, like I got to get going now, and the more you put it off, the less returns you're going to get when you have the grandkids you want to play soccer with and take them their basketball games.
And if you think about the CrossFit health continuum, you have sickness, wellness, and fitness. Mm-hmm. And so if you are working and you are somewhere in the striving for fitness, even if you fall off that a little bit, you're still trending towards wellness, vice sickness. Yeah. But if you're only working at the wellness area and you fall to sickness. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that, is a great graphic to drive our actions, our routines, right? I need to get past wellness. So if I do have some catastrophic event that comes up, I trend back towards wellness by trending towards sickness. Yeah. I think that great visual, right? Like draw it. It's a half circle.
That goes back to what you were saying the other day about why are you doing the things that you're doing? Like, because I don't want to be average. I have no desire to be average in life, in fitness, in what I'm eating. I'm making a cake. I want to make it the most beautiful cake that you've ever seen. I have no desire.
I feel like at 50, I get asked all these questions and I see all these people. What am I trying to do? My brain is just racing. I want to maximize the human potential. I got all these crazy things in my mind after this cold thing going on. Like I'm planning other things. Yeah. And they're like, why do you do this? Why not? I want to push the limits, and I want to be fitness and wellness. Yeah. Like that's where I want to be. Yeah. And I want to push myself to the limits and see what I can do, build confidence and then just enjoy.
And I know when we talk about it, we're all sort of a little bit physical minded, but you got somebody getting their master's, their PhD, their doctorate, like it's been shown that when you do exercise, you can build brain capacity.
And if you do it in the morning, it increases your cognitive ability the rest of the day.
Yeah. So you're a musician, you're a chemist, you're at MTSU, like that exercise is important to get the most out of your human potential.
I think it was, I was listening to Tim Grover and he was talking about how like the best in the world at everything they do, once they get to whatever that goal is, like whether it's the end of this Frostfit challenge, whether it's, you go to the games, whether it's you're going to the Granite Games, whether, you're playing professional baseball, like you get there, but like it's within seconds. Like whether it's you ran your best marathon, you're planning the next one. Yeah. Like that goal is nowhere near the end point. It's just a doorway to the next. Yeah. And so like being stagnant, like you're like, oh, I got it. I'm going to sit back and do nothing. Like that's the absolute worst thing you can do. Like you're already planning what's coming next before you've even finished this one. Because there's there's no end point.
Yeah. So I think everybody can make the goal to be on the floor at the end of my birthday watch.
No, not be on the floor. They need to be out of breath, but they don't need to be laying on the floor.
Well,
they need to get their butt up.
On the recovery watch.
They need to be on the recovery watch.
They need to be on the recovery watch.
That is
the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Is that Monday the 20th?
Are we doing Monday or Monday or Tuesday? We're before Thanksgiving.
I had to be training for it.
It's going. You put up a big score last year. You should be interested to see if
I ain't in that shape. I'm gonna tell you right now.
We'll see how much you've aged in the last year.
Yeah.
So before we go, you have any member shout outs or anything that we need to know about?
This week I was a little bit, I was only here Monday, Tuesday, and one thing I do want to throw out is Fortress Book of the Month is Built to Move by the Starretts, and I really want to see everybody tell me how they do on test one. Okay, and I'll leave it at that.
What do you got? You got any shout outs?
I'm just going to tell them, generally speaking, like what we kind of talked about, don't be scared. I know people are watching. I know people want to dive into this cold thing. There's a no judgment zone. It has nothing to do with that. Reach out to me if you want to talk about it. I think it'd be a big deal if some people started participating. I think it's really going to show them, how to set a goal and get uncomfortable and see it through. I know they can do it, so I'm here for you. Yep.
Got any shout outs?
I mean, like individual ones. Everybody's been doing they're still coming to the gym through this. I feel like maybe we need to start sending some shout outs like when people are actually like if you're getting here, you're like you come in, you're 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, like people that are hitting those 5 days a week.
Yeah, or if you have a 3-day-a-week membership and you're sending us notes saying, "Hey, this is what I did on my off day."
Yeah, we need to start really.
We've had a few new members that are showing up, man. I know it can be intimidating and stuff.
And a whole family now too, right? Like
Josh
and Brooke and Bella.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the biggest shout out that the people that show up at 5:15 when it's freaking cold out there, and they show up and they do it anyway. I'm serious.
And at 5:15, Jonathan McKnight's already going to be in the parking lot before you get here.
Yes, 4:35 a.m. He is here. But because you're doing it anyway, and other people going to work. And they're making it a priority to show up no matter what.
Well, I had the pleasure of working out next to Katie Larimore and Penny Kell, partnering up in Saturday's workout. Just moving, great way, looking good, and they were done before us. And it's just like watching them take their cool down walk and stuff. Just impressive, and it's just so cool how when you're capable, like, you just present an air of like, I don't know, just leadership, I got it together, it's just something that's just fun to watch, so shout out to those two.
Oh, I got one. Okay. Gentry and Chris yesterday, they absolutely destroyed the Saturday workout. I won the best times on the board. And they were like just absolutely on fire yesterday.
Good deal.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see everybody this week. And we'll be back next week.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Fortress Fitness Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.